I need to talk to you about this book. Judi Dench, the absolute living legend that she is, has always been kind of quiet about her approach to acting, but in this book that she released with Brendan O'Hare last year, is basically a 373-page interview about every single part she's ever played in Shakespeare in her entire life. As a theatre graduate, a Shakespeare enthusiast, this is my dream come true, and I pre-ordered it, devoured it last year, and it is Shakespeare the Man Who Pays the Rent. Now I feel that I need to tell you why you should read it too. So Judi's been involved in Shakespeare like her entire life. So you see glimpses of every aspect of her life. So there's childhood, acting training, first professional job, meets the husband, marries the husband, has kids, has grandchildren, all the way up until where we are now. Shakespeare has coloured and even moulded Judi's entire life. How cool is that? So there's a section where they're talking about play. And Brendan's asking about the importance of play in what we do as actors and asking where her love of play comes from, and she's saying about it's about her family. And I just want to read this little section just to kind of give you an essence of what the book is like. So Brendan asks, when you were growing up, is it true that you were encouraged to paint on the walls? Because you lived in the attic, didn't you? And she comes back like, don't be ridiculous. Of course I didn't live in the attic. That makes me sound like a wild animal that slept on straw and got fed through a hatch. She says, pull yourself together. I had a very nice bedroom, which was at the top of the house, with eaves. But yes, I was encouraged to paint on the walls. I'm not a very expressive reader. Sometimes I might message someone who's also read the book like, what's going on, what the hell? Or like, boo-hoo, so sad. But it doesn't usually show on my face. But during reading this book, the amount of times I laughed and smiled was more than anything I can think of in recent memory from reading a book. It was genuinely so wonderful to read it. She's just so cheeky and has so much wisdom to share, even if she denies it. She knows exactly what story to tell at exactly which time and in exactly which way. That's probably come with all the years of study, practice, and just her innate ability and essence, but it really shines out of the page. It really does. Her character comes straight through. Something Judi does throughout the book, which I really enjoy, and also Brendan at one point did actually comment on, she cannot help herself but finish the line, finish the verse, recite the script. So if he brings up something he wants to discuss with her and he'll say a line, and she will just go off on one. She'll just say the script. It's like she's got some sort of Shakespeare, Sherlock Holmes mind palace, and it's just got the whole folio, complete works. She could have not played that part since she was in her 20s, but she would be able to jump straight back, know the words, know the emotions, know the motivations, know who's in the scene, knows what's going on, know other people's lines. It's absolute madness. So I just want to read another little section for you. They're discussing Lady Macbeth, and Brendan asks, you're back there in your mind, I can see. And she says, well, yes, because she's so bloody lonely. Macbeth's lost in his own thoughts, and she's thinking, for goodness sake, what's done is done. Let's just return to how we were. Going over and over it is destroying us, but she can't reach him. She even says that she thinks that she shook him at one point. She can just remember how her body was in the moment. She knows what she did. She knows the blocking. She's clearly really empathising with Lady Macbeth in this moment, and they're just sitting probably on a sofa, just having a chat about it. The paragraph that she talks about it goes on and on. Like, I only read to there. From there, a really good example so that you can see how good she is and how she can just be there like that. Because anyone can say the lines, but she's there. She is the lines. A really good example of it is an interview she did on the Graham Norton show. I will link this video below, and I really encourage you to go watch it because she recites a sonnet, Sonnet 29, which also in the book she says is her favourite sonnet. And as soon as she starts speaking, even through the screen, you can feel the whole studio focuses and they're locked in with her, and she becomes the sonnet. And right up until the last line, and even the few seconds after, everybody is just enthralled with her performance. That comes through the screen, so I cannot imagine what it would have been like to be in the studio, because everybody was just like, ooh. It was, watch it, I'll link it below, it was really good. I don't normally buy a hardback, right? I will usually wait for a paperback because I don't usually like to hold them. They're kind of big, kind of heavy, but this one is actually surprisingly light, and it survived pretty well being carried around by me in my bag. The cover itself, it's a really lovely blue, so it definitely is always something that my eye goes to in the room, and it's got the typical Shakespeare handwritten signature, which is a very nice touch. But what's really lovely is that all these illustrations, you see this tree, and then all the end papers are all these illustrations, right? And they are through the book as well. These are all drawn by Judi. She almost didn't want them to be in, apparently, but a friend encouraged her to do it because her eyesight is deteriorating, which is very sad, but she's continuing to paint and draw. I'm so glad that someone helped her see that somebody else might be inspired to continue to paint and draw if they're having an issue with their sight, because these are beautiful. I think they're absolutely stunning. So because the whole book is an interview, it is broken up into sections all the time, which is pretty nice. I'm dyslexic, ADHD, and have bad eyesight, so it's a triple whammy. But I found this very accessible and very easy to read. I also like the size of the font that's included, and also how much space they actually give it. The borders are quite wide, but not too wide. And the space that they give between each paragraph or each line is actually very beneficial, because sometimes I really do struggle. Like, how close I have to put things to my face sometimes is just ridiculous. Not to get too philosophical about it, if that's even the right word, but I think the formatting and the space that they've given the words allows the conversation to breathe, if that makes any sense. It helped me take my time. I didn't feel like I had to rush. I didn't struggle to read it, so then I was calm when reading it and I had a calm experience. I could absorb the words, let them settle, let them simmer. It kind of gave me the feeling like I was just kind of sitting there with them. And that's the complete essence. I really think if you have an interest in acting, Shakespeare, Judi Dench, biographies, interviews, anything, or you don't and you want something new, read this book. Read Shakespeare, The Man Who Pays the Rent. It's so lovely, and I want you to have a lovely time. And Judi, yeah, I couldn't get through Merchant of Venice either, what a chore. Ugh.